trying to think of other like wild stories. I mean, New Orleans is always. It's like New Orleans. Of course, it's fun. Um, and we would always go out after New Orleans. It was all kind of just like wild. It was such a
Well, you were on like a road trip with your best
it was a
friends.
yeah it was a road trip with my best friends with busloads of my friends, and we went and did fun songs and did a funny show. The second one was a funny show. Uh, it was awesome. Holy crap! It all sort of like melds together as just like one awesome time. I actually recently got to go back onto one of the tour buses this past weekend because our friend. I got to go back on the tour bus because Mike was in town. So it was nice because it was like you get back on and it still sort of smelled like bananas for some reason, and it felt. It was sort of like coming home. You go, oh yeah, hey, it's the old joint. So that was nice. I would love to do another tour. Um, I don't know when the earliest we could do it theoretically, and this is like not necessarily off the record as much as completely me just not just talking. The earliest that we could even theoretically do it would be the late fall probably because just it's there's like we haven't been planning one, so probably if I started right now to put one together, that's when it would probably happen. But that's not really. I'm not saying that is going to happen. I'm just saying theoretically. So, but it would be fun because it's like the funnest thing to do ever.
Um, do you guys have plans after Airport for Birds?
Um, yeah. Well, it's sort of everybody recently has been kind of trying to work on almost like
Your
their
friends
own
again.
projects.
Okay.
Uh, um, not really, just a little bit more than in the past. It's like Jamie's got her album that she's been working on, and Lauren just put out that cool cookbook, and Airport for Birds is sort of this like interesting little exercise for a bunch of people to try to kind of throw their writing hats in the ring. Um, I know that the Langs are working on putting something together, so we'll see what that's about. I'm always pretending to write this play that called The Digger, which is this big joke, but someday it might just happen. Who knows? So as time goes on, sort of like there's more and more just happening because everyone just does more and more stuff. It's like, it's not like we're all just going to sit around and do nothing.
Okay, well, you said that you're writing, and I know that you did some of the writing for some of the shows. So, is that something that you would see yourself doing if you weren't acting? Would that be your like other career of choice?
Yeah, maybe. It's like writing is a lot of fun. Well, no, actually, writing is not a whole lot of fun in my opinion until it's done, and then you've got something to play with. Um, it's a very difficult process actually writing, um, but it's fun to write with your friends. I mean, the truth is that uh, that's kind of how things operate around here. The Langs do a lot of really great writing together, and they're lucky because they've got each other always,
Right.
and they kind of grew up. They're like almost twins. They've got this incredible back and forth, but that's it's like a lot of us share that to a little lesser degree, just because we have similar senses of humor and stuff like that. Like that's why we're friends. So it's a lot of fun to write with people. So I will, continue to try to do that. And, it's like I'm not really sure. If I wasn't an actor, I'm not sure I would be a writer just to be a writer. I like to write stuff for us to do. That's part of the fun, is the doing of it.
So if you weren't working with Star Kid, what would you be doing?
Well, I'm sort of doing what I'm doing now. It's like I audition for things. I'm trying to be an actor. I'd be an actor wherever I lived. Have a day job or something.
All right. So with Airport for Birds,
Mm-hmm.
the Langs were not involved at all.
Yeah, no, not really. I mean, it's like I live with the guys, so we would talk about it, but not in an official capacity.
Do you think that affected the dynamic of the show?
Yeah, probably. It was definitely, it's because, so much of the show comes from the original script. So, and the ideas that are developed in the writing of that. So that's a big element of all the shows up to this point. And also that, the Langs have sort of co-directed all of the shows. So yeah, I mean, it was a totally different beast. And it was interesting because everybody would bring in scripts and everybody would sort of chime in, just because there was less of a clear idea of what it was going to be at the outset. With one of the shows that, say, the Langs have written, or all the shows so far, day one you've got a finished script. We started rehearsal for Airport for Birds and said, all right, let's write things. And that was the challenge. So it was a totally different process. And I think it turned out really well. I think that it's been well received, and you start to, it's been interesting to see people who, different people's strengths that maybe we haven't seen so much before. I'm a big fan of, it's like I'm a big fan of Meredith's writing, for example. Or I just got really I didn't want to hurt any of my friends' feelings. I like everybody's writing, guys. So it's been a lot of fun to just switch it up a little bit. But, it's different projects are different beasts. Each one is a little bit different, depending on the team, depending on the positions that people hold.
Do you feel like Airport for Birds is targeted at an older audience than the musicals are? Or do you think it's...
Not really. It's like everyone... Well, here's the thing, is that the Langs always edit the shows, and I rarely... they exist in my memory more than in... I don't necessarily watch them so much. So it's like, in my mind, there's all this... I don't know. I forget what gets cut out. And so in my mind, all of the shows are we're swearing all over the place, and we've got these weird jokes that are off color and in bad taste a little bit, and it's always that's always my favorite stuff. So at no point did I ever really think that the shows were for kids. I remember when we did the first Harry Potter, we had people walking out of the theater, and that's great. And also we've had 10-year-olds coming to Airport for Birds. So I don't know.